races had some pretty glaring flaws. But while flawed, these races prove without a shred of doubt his 100 meter has a lot left to lose, and his 200 meter on Sunday might just push the limits of our imagination. But it's not Sunday yet, so we're talking about these races. Yeah, both wins were illegal.
Hold on to your seats, track and field fans. What just happened in Perth? Australia has completely shattered everything we thought we knew about teenage sprinting. A 17-year-old just broke the 10-second barrier with a mind-blowing 9.99, but that's not even the craziest part of this story that's got the entire athletics world buzzing. Ladies and gentlemen, we are witnessing the birth of a legend. Gout Gout, yes, that's his real name, just did something that has left veteran coaches speechless. Had Usain Bolt himself taking notice, and has Noah Lyles calling him little bro. But here's the kicker. This wind-assisted time might just be the tip of the iceberg for what could be the most explosive talent we've seen since the lightning bolt himself. So what exactly happened at the Australian Athletics Championships on April 10th, 2025? A skinny 17-year-old from Queensland steps up to the blocks in Perth. The wind is howling at plus 2.6 meters per second, making any time illegal for official records. But sometimes, illegal times tell us more about an athlete's potential than any record book ever could. The gun fires. Gout explodes from the blocks with that signature long stride that's been drawing comparisons to you-know-who. And then it happens. 9.99 seconds flashes on the scoreboard. The crowd erupts. Coaches start frantically checking their stopwatches. Social media goes absolutely mental. But here's what makes this even more incredible. Just 3 days later, this same teenager goes out and wins the 200 meters at the same championships with a wind-assisted 19.84 seconds. Are you kidding me? That's faster than most senior athletes will ever run in their entire careers. Now let me tell you why this isn't just another fast time. This is a seismic shift in the sprinting landscape. Gout Gout's journey reads like something out of a sports movie. Born to South Sudanese parents who fled to Australia, this kid was playing soccer just a few years ago. Yeah, you heard that right. Soccer. His father, Bona, has an incredible story of resilience. When the family fled South Sudan through Egypt before settling in Australia, their original surname, Gout, was misspelled during Arabic transliteration. Now it's pronounced to rhyme with pout, and Bona wants to change it back to avoid the medical connotations. But honestly, at this point, the name Gout Gout is about to become synonymous with speed, not disease. But here's where it gets absolutely insane. In 2022, as a 14-year-old, Gout ran 10.57 seconds. Good, but not earth-shattering. By March 20th, 24, he dropped to 10.29. Still impressive, but nothing that would make headlines. Then something clicked. August 20th, 2024. 20.60 seconds at the World U20 Championships, silver medal. November 20th, 2024, 20.29 seconds. Fourth fastest Australian of all time. December 20th, 24, the breakthrough moment, 10.04 seconds wind-assisted, then a legal 10.17 to break the Australian U18 record. But that was just the warm-up act. The very next day, and this is where your jaw should drop, he runs 20.04 seconds in the 200 meters. That time didn't just break records, it obliterated them. The Australian and Oceanian record that had stood since 1968. Gone. Peter Norman's legendary mark. History. Now everyone's asking the same question. Is this kid the next Usain Bolt? Let's look at the numbers because they're absolutely terrifying for every other sprinter on the planet. At age 16, Bolt ran 20.13 seconds in the 200 meters. Gout? 20.04 seconds. That's right, he's already faster than Bolt was at the same age. The only U18 athlete to ever run faster than Gout's 20.04 is Ariane Knighton with 20.01. We're talking about a list of 3 teenagers in history who have broken the 20.10 barrier before turning 18. But here's what's truly mind-bending. Bolt himself has said about Gout, he looks like young me. When the greatest sprinter of all time gives you that endorsement, you know something special is happening. And it's not just Bolt paying attention. Current world champion Noah Lyles has taken Gout under his wing in the most incredible way. After their Adidas training camp in Florida, Lyles started calling him Little Bro. Think about that for a second. The fastest man alive right now is mentoring a teenager who might just dethrone him in a few years. Gout revealed in a recent interview, "He calls me little bro, so we definitely have a great connection. He messages me occasionally, and it's definitely great." But then he dropped this bombshell. "I told him I'd be running up his ass for sure." 17 years old, and he's already talking trash to Noah Lyles. The confidence is unreal. But what makes Gout truly special isn't just his times, it's his progression curve. Most sprinters peak in their mid-20s. This kid is still growing into his body. Lyles himself noted that Gout needs to develop his grown man's strength. Can you imagine what happens when he fills out physically? When he adds 10 to 15 pounds of muscle, when his technique gets even more refined? The thought should terrify every sprinter currently competing, because those 9.99 and 19.84 times might just be the beginning. Here's what makes this absolutely insane. Gout's emergence is happening at the most perfect time imaginable. We're 3 years out from LA 2028, then Brisbane 2032, a home Olympics for Australia. The stars are aligning for something unprecedented in sprinting history. Think about the current generation: Lyles, Tebogo, Thompson-Hira. They're phenomenal athletes, but time waits for no one. By 2028, they'll be pushing their physical limits. Meanwhile, Gout will be hitting his absolute prime at just 20 years old. That's not just a changing of the guard, that's a complete revolution. What we're witnessing transcends athletics. This is the power of dreams colliding with raw talent. A refugee family's son who arrived in Australia seeking a better life is now positioned to become the fastest human alive. That's the kind of story that gives you goosebumps and reminds you why sport matters. When Gout says, "The goal is winning the Olympics and winning world championships," honestly, dominating like Bolt did, I think that limit is reachable for me. He's not throwing around teenage bravado. This is a young man who's already run faster than Bolt at the same age, speaking from a place of data and results. So what the hell is really going on? Simple. We're watching a once-in-a-generation talent emerge at the exact moment when sprinting needs a new superstar. Every race rewrites the record books. Every time he steps on the track, the impossible becomes inevitable. Those wind-assisted times of 9.99 and 19.84, they're not flukes, they're previews of pure destruction waiting to be unleashed. When the conditions are perfect, when Olympic gold is on the line, when the pressure is suffocating and legends are made, that's when this kid will deliver performances that redefine human speed. The timing couldn't be more perfect. Australia needs a global superstar heading into their home Olympics. The world needs a new face of sprinting. And Gout, he's delivering exactly what everyone didn't even know they were waiting for. The sprinting world just got flipped upside down by a teenager from Queensland who's rewriting the rules of what's possible. The question isn't whether Gout will break records. It's how many legends he'll leave in his wake. Buckle up, because the Gout era is about to begin. The sprinting world just got turned upside down by a 17-year-old from Queensland. And folks, this is just the beginning. Buckle up, because the Gout era is about to begin, and it's going to be one hell of a ride.
The track here now, Gout gets up on John, moves past John, he can't be stopped, he is incredible, 10.17.
10.17.
Oh, wow. He started behind the 8.
At just 16 years old, Gout has done what many athletes spend their lives chasing. Clocking an eye-watering 10.17 seconds in the 100 meters at the Queensland Track Classic, he didn't just break records, he shook the foundations of Australian sprinting. This isn't just a story about speed, it's about defying expectations, embracing identity, and setting sights on Olympic greatness. Gout's journey starts in Ipswich, Queensland. Born to South Sudanese parents who escaped a war-torn homeland, Gout was raised on stories of perseverance and grit. His parents, like many immigrants, faced cultural and economic hurdles, but were determined to give their children a better life. Their resilience was passed down to Gout, who would channel it into his athletic ambitions. Interestingly, his name itself tells a story. Originally spelled Gout, a simple immigration error changed it to Gout. Rather than correcting it, his family embraced the new identity. That name, unusual and often mispronounced, would soon be echoed in stadiums and headlines across the country. Before he was sprinting into record books, Gout was dribbling soccer balls across suburban fields. Like many kids his age, he idolized Cristiano Ronaldo, mimicking his moves and dreaming of football stardom. But fate had other plans. During a school athletics carnival in year 7, Gout stepped onto the track and left everyone, including himself, stunned by his raw speed. It wasn't long before coaches and scouts began to take notice. Transitioning to full-time track training, he ditched the cleats for spikes. That decision, made in his early teens, would become the cornerstone of a legacy in the making. What amazed coaches even more was his natural running form, fluid, powerful, and uncoached. It was as if speed was wired into his DNA. December 20th, 24. The Australian All-Schools Athletics Championships. Gout lines up for the 100 meters, his face composed, his focus laser-sharp. What happened next would rewrite record books. He blazed through the heats in a wind-assisted 10.04 seconds, but in the final, with legal wind conditions, he delivered a staggering 10.17 seconds. That time wasn't just a win, it was a record. The fastest ever by an Australian under-18 athlete. What made this moment even more electrifying was the lit up among his competitors. They knew they were witnessing something historic.
The track here now, Gout gets up on John, moves past John, he can't be stopped, he is incredible, 10.17.
And he wasn't done. The following day, he shattered the Australian national 200-meter record, clocking an unbelievable 20.04 seconds. That broke Peter Norman's 56-year-old record of 20.06. To put it into perspective, Peter Norman won silver at the 1968 Olympics and stood on the podium with Tommy Smith and John Carlos during their historic Black Power salute. Gout's time not only dethroned a legend, but symbolically linked two eras of athletic excellence. The reaction was immediate and global. Social media exploded with praise, international athletics forums lit up with comparisons, and Australian sports outlets declared him the next big thing. For a 16-year-old, it was dizzying. But Gout remained unfazed. He smiled, gave a humble nod to his family and coaches, and walked off the track, already thinking about his next race. Global comparisons began flooding in. Analysts pointed out that Gout's 200-meter time made him the second fastest under-18 athlete in the world, trailing only Ariane Knighton of the U.S. But perhaps the most mind-blowing moment came when Usain Bolt himself acknowledged Gout's talent. To be mentioned in the same breath as the fastest man alive, that's more than an accolade, it's a prophecy. As the hype grew, so did the opportunities. Gout signed a sponsorship deal with Adidas, a move that placed him alongside global sprinting elites. This wasn't just a marketing deal, it was a statement. Gout Gout is here to stay. He became a figure not just in athletics, but in youth culture. Kids across Australia began mimicking his start stance. Hashtags in his name trended, and his races started drawing record online views. To sharpen his skills further, Gout traveled to Florida, joining forces with Olympic champion Noah Lyles and legendary coach Lance Brauman. It was a pivotal move. Training alongside professionals gave Gout not just the physical tools, but the mental toughness needed to compete on the global stage. "I am trying to show you what's up. I am trying to come out there with a bang," said the 17-year-old Gout after meeting and training with Lyles and his coach Lance Brauman in Claremont, Florida in January. The camp was intense, 2-a-days, strict nutrition, endless drills, but Gout thrived. In a behind-the-scenes video, Lyles was seen praising Gout's focus. "He's 16 going on 26, he joked. That kind of discipline, rare in teenagers, became Gout's hallmark. He returned to Australia with renewed energy, blazing through national events and setting new benchmarks. At one point, he clocked a wind-assisted 9.99 in the 100 meters and a 19.84 in the 200 meters, both blisteringly fast times that hinted at what's to come. Coaches began speculating that, with just a few more years of technical refinement, Gout could enter the elite sub-10-second club legally, a feat few Australians have achieved.
Gout Gout has broken the magical 20-second barrier as he took the 200-metre title at the Australian Athletics Championships in Perth. The teenager's biggest threat in the final was Lachlan Kennedy, who only just lost the 100-metre final to Rowan Browning last night.
Even prodigies face hurdles. At the 2025 Moree Plant Meet in Melbourne, Gout faced a rare defeat in the 200 meters to fellow young star Lachlan Kennedy. But rather than sulking, Gout took it in stride. "It's part of the process," he said. You win, you learn, you grow.
Moment, Kennedy's in front, Gout's coming hard, very, very hard, Kennedy's won!
That mentality is part of what sets him apart. He's not just chasing times, he's building a mindset for longevity. With so much pressure and media attention, many young athletes crumble. Gout thrives. Every loss becomes a lesson, every challenge a motivator. His coach noted that after the defeat, Gout was the first to show up at practice the next morning. No sulking, no excuses, just work. With the 2025 World Championships in Tokyo around the corner and the 2028 Olympics in Los Angeles in his sights, Gout has his roadmap laid out. Every race, every meet, every training session is a step toward those global stages. His goals? Break the 10-second barrier legally, win an Olympic medal before turning 21, and perhaps one day challenge the world record. Lofty dreams? Maybe. But for someone who's already broken national records and drawn praise from Bolt, nothing seems impossible. And it's not just individual glory he's after. Gout has expressed a deep desire to uplift others, particularly young athletes from refugee and migrant backgrounds. He's spoken at schools, participated in community clinics, and even launched a small online series where he shares training tips and motivational messages. His vision goes beyond the finish line, beyond medals and records. Gout's rise has inspired a new generation of athletes, particularly from immigrant and underrepresented communities. He's a symbol of possibility, proof that you don't need the perfect background to make it big, just talent, work ethic, and belief. His story resonates because it's not just about winning races, it's about rewriting narratives. It's about turning mispronounced names and overlooked beginnings into global headlines. It's about speed, yes, but also identity, ambition, and legacy. Gout has become more than an athlete. He's a cultural icon in the making. Gout Gout isn't just fast. He's transformative. From Ipswich school fields to national stadiums, he's carved a path few have dared to tread. And with every explosive start and powerful finish, he's proving that age, background, and obstacles are no match for raw talent and relentless drive. As the world watches his next moves, one thing is clear: this 16-year-old isn't just chasing greatness, he's redefining it. If Gout Gout's story blew your mind, hit that like button and share it with someone who needs a dose of inspiration. Want to see where his journey takes him next? Subscribe and turn on notifications, because this sprinting prodigy is just getting started.
Away, he got not such a good start tonight. Kelly just leads him from Kepagelli. Out wide, Cassiano and John. Now Gout starts to stretch away, and stretch away he does! And he's done it! He's broken the 10 seconds again!
At the 2025 Australian National Athletics Championships in Perth, all eyes were locked on a 17-year-old with a name you don't forget: Gout Gout. Coming off a blazing national record in the 200 meters and having already held his own against elite global talent, expectations were sky high. But what happened next? No one saw it coming. From the moment he stepped onto the track for the junior men's 100-meter semifinal, the energy shifted. Gout launched out of the blocks with his most explosive start yet. Head down, perfect drive phase, and absolute precision. With 20 meters to go, he eased up, clearly conserving energy. But even then, he stopped the clock at a jaw-dropping 9.99 seconds. Only 7 junior athletes in history have ever run sub-10 in the 100 meters, but before the world could crown him, there was a twist. A plus 3.5 meters per second tailwind made the time ineligible for record books. Still, that didn't stop the internet from exploding. The real kicker: that was just the semifinal. In the final, things got messy. Gout didn't get the clean start he had earlier. He lagged in the opening 10 meters, a moment that would have ruined most races. But not for Gout. With astonishing closing speed, he surged forward, clocking another 9.99. This time, the win was plus 2.6 meters per second. Still over the limit, but much closer. That's 2 sub-10 times in one day by a 17-year-old. To put this in perspective, wind-adjusted conversions suggest Gout's semifinal time could translate to roughly 10.03 seconds under legal wind. Even crazier, these were the only sprint events all day with illegal wind readings. It felt like something or someone was trying to stop this kid from etching his name into history. But Gout doesn't need a record to prove he's a generational talent. And let's not forget, his primary event isn't even the 100, it's the 200 meters. Back in December 2024, at just 16, Gout shattered the Australian national record with a legal 20.04, and in March 2025, he went even faster faster, a wind-assisted 19.98. That's Usain Bolt territory, literally. Bolt didn't go that fast at 16.
Australians with the straight, ready to go, 70, 60.